Hello, friends, and welcome back as we continue to explore Adobe Illustrator. Today, we are going to be talking about the Layers panel. This is one of those panels that defaults when you do the Essential workspace, but if it is not pulled up, you're going to go to Window and you're going to go down here to Layers. This is one of those panels I just keep up at all times because it has so many uses as I'm working to keep me organized, to keep me able to group things effectively, to find what I need. So I leave it up all the time. One of the things you will find as you continue to work in Adobe Illustrator is you have a lot of objects, a lot of things you create. So learning to stay organized early on is going to help you be a better designer using this software. Let's go ahead and get started. On the right here, I've given you a set of objects that create a design that look like this happy Halloween that I've put a screenshot here for you to reference. On the left, I've given you different directions along with keyboard shortcuts that you will need and commands that you will need to help you be more organized. We're going to talk about the layers panel, but we're also going to explore a little bit of the select menu today. On the layers menu, you're going to see that right now I have 3 separate layers. I can toggle these on and off for visibility in order to see what is and is not there. I can also lock my layers. Locking your layers help you be very effective if you're trying to work on things. For example, if I'm trying to not manipulate anything in this what a mess layer, I can toggle that off and now I can't select anything except for what's in the layers below it. Over here, we have the ability to target our layers. When we target a layer, it allows you to select everything in that layer. If you open the layer, you can also select individual pieces and you'll see those kind of transform boxes pop up around the various objects here. We also have a layer panel menu that allows you to do a lot of things like flatten your artwork, make new layers, merge layers, delete things, all sorts of different commands, and we'll use that today. Let's go ahead and get started. First, we're going to start by, we have 2 separate layers of our art that it got separated. So let's go ahead and get these fixed. I'm going to hold down my shift key and I'm going to select my what a mess and my uh-oh. You see that they're selected because they're in blue. I'm going to go up to my panel here and I am going to merge selected. Merge selected is going to merge them into the top layer. The other thing I could have done is collect in a new layer in order to take everything in these existing layers and put them in a separate one. But I'm just going to say merge layer because I want them all to be together. And it's just going to say uh-oh for now and we'll fix it later. One of the things that is in my uh-oh is a little sketch that I created to help me kind of figure out what I was going to do. I'm going to go ahead and grab this and I'm going to drag it up to the top. All I did is I'm pressing and holding with my mouse and moving it up to the top. And you can see my beautiful, beautiful sketch here. I want this as a reference, but I don't want it as a part of the rest of my design. So I'm going to create a new layer and I'm going to say collect in a new layer. And now it's in its own separate layer, and I'm going to name this sketch. And then I'm going to create this as a template layer. Once it's a template layer, you'll see that it locks automatically and it's no longer something that I can change or manipulate, and it just kind of stays there as my template. Sometimes I'll use a template like this and I'll turn the opacity down so that I can see it and manipulate it or look at it while I'm working. But for today, we're just going to toggle that off so we don't see it, but it's still there for us. Okay. Now, everything underneath this is now going to need to be organized, okay? Once it's organized, and actually I'm gonna make a brand new layer and just move my sketch there instead, and then that way everything's just separate and I can hide all that. Okay, what I wanna do is start by grouping some things together in order to organize things. So I have this little beginning of my pumpkin here, and I want to find all of the objects that look the same as this top layer. When I move one, I want to be able to move them all. So I'm going to select this top one and go select, same, and you can do a couple of things. You can do appearance, you can do fill color, but it's only going to grab the things that are exactly the same. It has to be the exact same gradient, the exact same color for it to grab everything that's the same. Now that I've got that, I'm going to start by grouping these together. You can do this a couple of ways. You can use the keyboard shortcut, which I've listed for you in the directions over here of Command or Control G, or I can come over here to my Properties panel under Quick Actions and say Group, or I can go to Object and say Group. Personally, I like to use my keyboard shortcut. Once we start grouping objects together, we're going to start seeing that our layers here are going to start kind of compressing and getting more organized. So as we're going to do this, I'm going to start by finding all of my different objects. This, however, is in the way. You can see that there's other things hiding. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to actually rename this background so I can remember what that is. And I'm going to go ahead and drag that down here. Drag, drag, drag. So now I'm going to start seeing other stuff. There's some more parts of my pumpkin and I'm going to drag those up. This is adjusting our stacking order. That needs to be on top in order to be able to see those objects hiding underneath. I've got my stems here, so I'm going to actually target over here. I'm going to hold down my Command key and then I'm going to be able to Command G to group them. Now, the nice thing is you can have groups within groups. So I'm going to grab everything that has to do with my pumpkin, including this drop shadow, and I'm going to group them all. And then I'm going to name that Jack-o'-lantern. Jack-o'-lantern. And now I can start organizing things more effectively. So as I work through this, I can target also to help me find things that I need. So that doesn't seem like it's anything. So we're going to ignore that. And we're going to come in here and we're going to start working on this ghost. And most of the time, they're kind of all in order as you draw them. They kind of go into your layers panel fairly organized. Once you go too far, and you'll see I went too far because it didn't grab the ghost, I'm going to go ahead and grab and Command G that, and I'm going to call this one my kind ghost. I'm just going to keep working my way down. You can select over here, but I always find it more effective. And see, I missed this one. I'm going to show you what we can do. I find it more effective to work over here. I missed this shadow, so I'm going to grab this and just drag and drop it into the group, which is very, very helpful. So I've got some stray marks here, which we're going to handle in a few minutes. See, I missed this one too, so we're going to drag that in. But I'm going to go ahead and get my mean ghost next. I'm going to grab all of these, and I'm watching while I'm grabbing things to make sure that I'm getting everything this time. The white ones are hard, and anything that's got a lot of opacity can be hard. It looks like I got the majority, so I'm going to Command G again to group those, and I'm going to call this my mean ghost. I've also got some background stuff, and if you notice, I have this Happy Halloween. Again, that is in white, so it doesn't show up very well as a thumbnail here, but if you select it and target it, I can see that that's where it is. So I'm going to drag that up so I can see, and I'm going to start grouping my background stuff here. And there's my stars and my moon and my background, and I'm going to group those. Now, please keep in mind that your stars should never be on top of your moon because the moon is going to be closer to us. So we're going to work on stacking that in the correct order by dragging it above the stars image, which was an image of stars. We're going to call that background. Again, I can arrow all these down to look, but one of the things hopefully you'll see is I've got all these rando paths here that I don't want. They're called stray points, and we want to get rid of our stray points. But one of the things I have seen is if you look, I've gotten some stuff out of order. When you drag like I did this path right here, it goes in the top. So I'm actually going to move some of this down to get things in the right order. The other thing I want to do is I want to make my Happy Halloween. Okay, rename the whole layer Happy Halloween. So I'm going to call this Happy Halloween. And I want to make my layer green instead of red like it is. So what I'm going to do is over here, I'm going to double click, not on the word, not on the target, kind of in this area right here. And I can actually go into my layers option here and I can do some things. I can change it from red to green. I can change it here from a template. I can lock it, change whether it prints or not. And I'm just going to say okay. And now it has changed that layer to a green layer. Next, let's get rid of these stray points. Stray point is just a random pin mark that sometimes happens by accident. And we want to get rid of those again to clean up what we're doing. So in order to get stray points, we're going to go to select object and we're going to select stray points here. And that's going to select everything that's just a random point. And all I'm going to do is hit delete to get rid of them. As you can see, everything's getting a lot more organized, a lot more visible. So one of the things we want to do is make sure that when we go to print this, that we are not going to print our template layer. So again, I'm going to double click on my layers option and see how it says right there, no print. We want to make sure that that doesn't have print on. Okay. And now this is a lot more organized. Hopefully, as you're working, you can keep yourself organized like this. Sometimes I even like to go in and change the names of singular groups to help me remember what things are, which is very, very helpful. Make sure that you save your work. You want to make sure that you've turned it in as last name, first name, the period, and we're going to call this layering. Thanks so much.